Welcome to Vape News Radio, the voice of vaping. In each show, we share the latest about regulations and things you need to know, plus upcoming conferences and fests, along with interviews with the movers and shakers in this fabulous vape space. Are you looking to get into this ever-expanding marketplace? Do you want to master this industry? Listen up as Norm Bauer, the Vape Mentor, shares it all. And here's your host, Norm Bauer.
Hello and welcome to Vape Radio, the voice of vaping, and this is show number 75. I'm Norm Bauer with VapeMentors, and today's show is sponsored by Perfect Vape, one of our newest sponsors. Are you a vape store, always looking for the latest mods on the market? Welcome, Perfect Vape. Few distributors can claim that they have the largest hardware inventory in America, but Perfect Vape really does. They've been around since 2013 and they can really deliver the goods. What are you looking for? How about the Joytech AIO? What about the Sigelli T150 touchscreen? They also offer their own Perfect Vape liquid at tremendous prices, available in 350 flavors and all sizes. And they carry flavor concentrates from TFA, FW, Capella, and Flavor Art. They also carry full product liability for your protection, but inventory is where they really shine. They strive to deliver every product at the lowest price, even direct prices from overseas. Bold claims? No doubt, but they're willing to put their money where their mouth is and guarantee that if you can find a lower price after buying from them, they'll credit you the difference. In all these years on Vape Radio, we've never had anyone stand behind a claim like that. Visit them at perfectvape.com, use coupon code VAPERadio and get a 5% discount and let them prove that they stand behind these claims. We also want to tell you about Level 13 liquids. Are you a retail shop without your own house line? Do you already have your own liquids but lack consistency or confidence that they're offering you a product you can stand behind? Level 13 liquids can get your own line off the ground in just a few days and can help with marketing, branding, and expansion into a wholesale channel. For information, contact me right here at Vape Radio. We also wanted to let you know that we're offering free webinar classes on how to open a vape shop. We cover what you need to know about regulations, locations, size of your shop, and inventory. We're doing them every few weeks, and if you are not on our mailing list, you can visit VapeMentors.com to sign up for our classes. Here we are in Q2 2016, and still no word from the FDA. We all wait, and wait, and wait, and we really don't know what the results will be. But we know the new regs are coming. As soon as we know, we're going to share it right here with you, and you can be sure that we're going to be bringing you some great interviews from many that can offer their insight. Speaking of, I wanted to give all our listeners a heads up of what we have coming in June. It's called Vape U3, Vape Summit. And for 3 days and for 12 hours, we're going to be bringing you some of the most amazing thought leaders in the vape space to educate and empower you. As we contemplated our latest Vape U class, we asked ourselves, what do you want to know? We interviewed tens of thousands of vape professionals and asked them, what keeps you up at night? What worries you the most? And we got hundreds of responses and drilled it down to just a few areas and then found the best people in the industry to address them. The dates are still being finalized, and we're going to be making this amazingly affordable for those that can commit early. All attendees will get the recordings for all the events, so stay tuned as we tie it all together. Along those same lines is another webinar series on contract manufacturing provided by some of the most prominent legal minds in the space. We're still working on details, but that will be available as Q2 unfolds as well. Since 2013, we've been tracking the growth in different sectors, including brick and mortar, liquids, online shops, and distribution wholesaling. Of course, the biggest growth has been in the e-liquid market, and ironically, they're the most under the microscope with these new pending regs. Is it worth creating your own juice, or should you have a co-packer do it? I have my own thoughts and reached my own conclusions, but what about you? We're going to be spending quite a bit of time on this liquid market in the next few months, since I'm launching a program to help vape shops double their revenue. One tool to that end is house lines of juice, and we're going to be sharing that soon. Meanwhile, on the event stage, I'll be attending the NATO event in Las Vegas shortly, and for anyone that plans to attend the VPX ECC event in Las Vegas in May, I will be speaking there once again. They are coordinating a great educational platform, and I'm proud to be part of it. But let's get on with our show. I have lost count of all the events I've been to since 2013, and truthfully, they almost all look the same. Just as most liquids and vape shops all look the same from the outside. When I was told about Vape Shop events last winter and asked if Vape Magazine and radio wanted to be exclusive media sponsors, we jumped at the chance. Why? Because this event is not a smoke-filled, noisy convention center where people come to party. This is an event with just 24 buyers and 24 sellers, and they all spend 2 days together. The net result? Business happens, and that was sorely missing from the industry for a long time. These events happen 4 times per year, and after this one, the next one is in La Jolla, California in July. It's going to be at a great venue in a wonderful town, and if you really want to get maximum ROI on your investment dollars, I suggest you book it early. Mike Sessoms with VSE is our guest today, so I'm going to be quiet and let the interview roll. Since we recently just had a show about the upcoming events for the first quarter of 2016, I wanted to introduce you to a new concept that I've never seen before in this vaping industry. I was introduced to vape shop events by one of my clients in Wisconsin, and when I got the information, I went, oh my God, that is exactly what I have been looking for, and that is exactly what this industry needs. I'm just going to give you a very quick overview of why this is so exciting to me, and then I'm going to go right to the horse, and we're going to hear it from the proverbial horse's mouth. But Vape Shop Events is a true B2B business event for the vaping industry. It is by invitation only. You have a very small group of people between sellers and buyers, and everyone is literally forced to spend time together and do business together. So welcome to our show, Mike Sessoms. He's actually back in Toledo, Ohio. So Mike, welcome to Vape Radio.
Thanks, Norm. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. All right, so tell us about Vape Shop Events and the premise behind this concept of what I call speed dating in the vaping industry.
Okay, well, it's kind of exactly that, Norm. The trade show format is kind of very unique and very different than the typical convention hall style booth trade shows that the industry is used to. The format of our trade show is where we bring in all direct manufacturers in the vape industry in all the categories. They set up right in their hotel room suite, and it's again, exclusive invite-only show. We invite all volume buyers. This is a volume-driven trade show, and we pair them together. Each manufacturer has a pre-scheduled 20-minute private one-on-one meeting with each volume buyer right in their hotel room suite. So there's no interruptions. It's by far one of the most productive format of trade shows on the market.
That is what really drew my attention to it. So you have a limited number of sellers or manufacturers, and you have a limited number of buyers. So let's talk about it from the manufacturing standpoint, because a manufacturer could be anyone who makes anything. Is that a fair assessment? Because you're obviously not limited to just e-liquid manufacturers, right?
Correct. You know, we have hardware manufacturers, coil manufacturers. We even have a service provider company as one of our exhibitors. But for the most part, it's industry specific with industry manufacturers. We have a WIC company. So we have all kinds of different manufacturers that set up at our events. And again, it's very exclusive. We allow 27 exhibitors at our events, and that's it. And we cap it, close it, nobody else can come in. And then we have on average approximately 20 power buyers at every given event. So what is the criteria, Mike, between how you pick the sellers? And I don't really want to quote prices because prices may change, but tell us who pays and what they pay. Well, the exhibitors pay, and they pay, and the cost of the show for them, for the exhibitors, covers their hotel room suite, all their meals, and transportation to and from the airport. And that's another point that I wanted to bring out as far as the meal plan, because other than 20 minutes for the manufacturers, they get a guaranteed 20-minute private pre-scheduled meeting with each big buyer right in their room, but they get a lot of quality time with all the buyers as well, because everybody eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. So everybody spends a lot of quality time together getting to know each other. This is really a relationship-building trade show. You know, like some of the convention hall style booth trade shows, the show closes at 6 o'clock, the convention hall shuts down, the buyers take off to, 20 different casinos or restaurants or wherever, and you never see your buyer again. At our show, our event, everybody spends the entire duration of the event together, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and throughout the meeting process. The convention hall style booth shows serve their purpose. I go to them myself, but again, this is kind of a very unique event, something totally different, and all strictly business to business. And then your buyers, how do you select the buyers that come in, and what is their criteria, and what do they pay? Well, The buyers actually attend our show for free. VSC pays for airfare, hotel room, all meals, and transportation to and from the airport for one buyer that's a qualified buyer. And we have a process that the buyers fill out form to see if they qualify for the show or not. And we usually, through our channels of our people that we know in the vape industry, we make the initial phone call and reach out to the buyers to invite them for the first time to the trade show or to our event. And then after that, the manufacturers actually dictate who comes back and who doesn't. We send out surveys to all of our manufacturers. They rate the buyers, and the manufacturers dictate who comes back to the show, who's invited back as the buyer. Now, we also have a top buyer referral program with our event where the manufacturers actually give us buyers that they want to meet with, because in essence, this is really their trade show, the manufacturer. It's not our show, it's their show. So we want them to take ownership in it and let us know who they want to meet with. And we do our best, and we work together very closely with all of our exhibitors and buyers throughout the year. And we bring in the buyers that the manufacturers want to meet with. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, we're happy to bring them in. And then on the other side of the fence, we do the same for the buyers. If the buyers want to meet with a specific manufacturer, we do what we can to bring them in for them. It's really conducive to doing business, and it's, again, a super productive format.
If I was going to equate this to reality television, it's like the difference between a dating show where you are spending just minutes with each other, like the old dating game where you have, 60 seconds or a couple of minutes to actually dissect whether you want to date someone, compared to like the television show Survivor, where you have a finite number of people living together for as many days as they're there on the island, and they can't get away from each other. Now here, of course, you do have freedom, so don't let anyone think that these people are forced to spend time with each other. But what I love about this, Mike, is that you spend time together at breakfast, and of course everyone has breakfast at their different times. But yet at lunchtime, you provided a really awesome buffet, and everyone had a chance to sit inside or outside. It was held in San Diego, California, during a very pleasant part of the time of the year. And then, of course, we had dinner together, and it was, again, a very, very sumptuous dinner in La Jolla, which was a wonderful place. And so what's happening here, as he said earlier in this conversation, let's just say that you are a manufacturer. You are now exposed to potentially almost 24 different distributors out there of every size. Now you have a chance to eat with them. You can hang out with them after dinner. If you want to go take a jog together, or if you want to go, and have a drink together, or leave the venue or the premises, because no one is, forced to be there. But it's kind of like they make it advantageous for you to form potentially lifelong friendships. And that's what I really liked about it. There was people who came here to this event who knew each other, but there was a lot of people who had only had conversations or email communication, as did I. And so it was really awesome, really getting a chance to know each other and kind of strip down all the levels of personality. So this was not your very first vape shop events. Your first one was back in, was it Phoenix in 2014?
Yes, back in Phoenix, exactly. We utilize a resort over in Phoenix. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, so that was your first one in this industry, but I'd love for you to tell us where this concept come from, because you have been doing this for several years in several industries, and I'd love for you to share where this industry came from, and if you feel this is a trend that's going to continue for developing true interpersonal relationships between sellers and buyers in the future.
Absolutely. We brought this from another industry. We've been doing this format of trade show, if you will, for over a decade now in the promotional products industry. Can koozies, folders, T-shirts, lanyards, anything you can slap your logo on, essentially. And then we branched off into other industries, including, the pet store industry, the franchise industry. We're looking at a couple other industries currently. So we're up to, a little over 30-something shows a year at this point, and we're continuously looking for new industries to branch out into because, simply because the format works. It's such a great way to do business when you have, undivided attention of your buyer and your seller sitting in a hotel room suite together talking business. It just doesn't get any better than that.
I was going to say, you threw some numbers at me before we ever met, and you told me what percentage of sellers return to successive shows and what percentage of buyers
return to successive shows. And to be honest with you, I thought you were exaggerating, Mike. I really did. But I wrote down some comments of what some of the people said who after the event, because I went there on behalf of both myself, Norm Bauer, and VapeMentors, but also on behalf of Vape Magazine, because when I first met Mike remotely several months ago, he said, we'd be interested in having Vape Magazine as being our exclusive sponsor. And I said, I think that's a phenomenal idea. And so I went to management and they approved it. And so our logo was plastered all over, and one of our sales associates, Jacob Barger, was there. And so I got a chance to get some really good stories out of it and meet some awesome people. But you were telling me what percentage of people come back repeatedly show after show, and it blew my mind, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, on average, we have, depending on the industry, but it ranges from usually between 80 to 92% retention rate on our exhibitors. Once they come in, they stay in. It's a super productive show for them. 2, the ROI, the return on their investment is there. And 3, we have at every show, we boast on average over 50% or more new buyers at every show. So it's a great reason for these exhibitors to come back. Plus, again, we work with our exhibitors, giving them the opportunity to bring in buyers they want to meet with, as I expressed to you earlier. So it's a really super productive show and format, and we're looking to moving forward in the vape industry. We've actually even joined Safada just recently here as an organization. So yeah, we're looking forward to moving forward with the industry.
That's awesome. I go to a lot of vaping events, of course, and unfortunately, there's a lot of distractions. There's 3 different categories. Most of them are fests, which is really just smoke fests and music fests, and they really don't do a lot of business. But the reality of it is that you are offering a unique situation where people can come together. Now, when you invite 20 sellers and 27 buyers, how are you coming up with these numbers? Is that just the logistics of being able to put X number of people together for 20 minutes over a 2.5-day period?
Exactly, and those numbers are actually reversed. It's 27 exhibitors and 20 buyers on average. No worries. I just want to clarify that for our listeners. But yeah, it's basically logistics. We can only fit in X amount of manufacturers' meetings with the buyers in a 2.5-day period. For other industries, we've ran this for 2.5 or 3.5 days, and we found that it's a little overwhelming. It's a little much, and we allow 45 manufacturers at one of our other shows, and it's a lot. I mean, it's 45 meetings in really a 2.5-day span, actually. So it's a lot of meetings to cram in, and by the time of the end of the week, the buyers and the sellers are exhausted. So we backed it down a little bit to make it into a 1.5-day, really, essentially, meetings. And it seems to be still extremely productive, but not overbearing at the same time. So it seems to work out pretty well.
Well, what's interesting, as I started to mention, and I forgot where I was going with that conversation, is that when I go to different events, if I ask the exhibitors what is their biggest challenge, what is their biggest frustration, overwhelmingly it's distribution. We have more high-quality products, high-quality e-liquids especially, than ever before, yet people can't get them out into the marketplace. Meanwhile, the distribution channel has definitely been growing. I've been monitoring all 3 channels between brick-and-mortar e-liquids and distributors / wholesalers, and the number of distributors has gone up significantly over the last almost 3 years I've been in the business. And when I ask them what is the biggest criteria that they look for in deciding what they want to carry, in looking at an e-liquid, flavor, of course, is important, but it's hard to find really crappy flavor out there that's developed any kind of traction. But what's really important to them is marketing, is packaging, it's branding. And you really can't get a sense of a seller's branding, marketing, or packaging by spending 30 seconds with them. So what I love about your format, Mike, is that when someone is behind closed doors and you're sitting one-on-one across from each other, one, you're trying each other's products, but also you are really getting a sense of the brand and the people behind it, which I find to be, again, very exciting. I can't speak highly enough about this event, and I look forward to participating in your next one. So why don't you share with everyone about what the criteria is for possibly joining your next shows, and where and when are your successive shows for 2016?
Well, we have a few more shows this year. We do our shows quarterly for the vape industry. Our next show is April 24th through 26th, and that's in Park City, Utah. The show after that, our summer show, is happening July 17th through the 19th, and that is back in La Jolla, California. And then again, October 9th through the 11th, and that one's in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm grateful that you came out to the last show, and I'm really glad you liked it. It's definitely a unique experience. And, as far as the buyers, just to let you know, just to clarify, we bring in all varieties of buyers. We bring in distributors, large chain stores, large online retailers. So we bring in a lot of different variations of buyers to all of our events. And again, we bring in new buyers at every show. So it's always a good show. And we're looking forward to the next one. I'm really excited. We signed on with Vape Magazine. They're our official sponsor now for the Vape Shop events trade shows. And we're looking forward to moving forward here.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to do this interview early, before it gets too late, is that if anyone is interested in participating in the April event over in Park City, I suggest that you get on it, because so if you have a finite number of sellers and a finite number of buyers, and presumably you have a 90% retention rate, do you already have a waiting list for the next shows?
We do. We offer a first right of refusal program for all of our exhibitors, and giving them a 1-month time frame after the show ends to decide if they want to come back to the next show before we open it up to new manufacturers. And at this point, we already have a waiting list of people with deposits and contracts to get into the April show. Once that 1-month mark hits and X amount of people, manufacturers drop off, then it'll already, pretty much be sold out again. At this point, we'll still have a very limited availability, and it is based on a first-come, first-served basis. If anyone's interested in the April show or any future shows, they can contact myself, Mike. My phone number is 877-220-9502 at extension 700, and it's Mike at vapeshopevents.com. Or you can also reach our sales rep, Shannon, and her number is 877-220-9502, and she's at extension 702, or Shannon at vapeshopevents.com. We can give you all the information. You can also go to our website at www.vapeshopevents.com, which will give you a lot more information about our show, our event, tells you a little bit more about the process, any frequently asked questions. There's testimonials on there. So it gives you a bunch of different information on that. So that's a good place to go for that.
That is awesome. Well, you gave all the contact information that I would ask of you, so congratulations and thank you on that. And if, in fact, you get a hold of Mike or Shannon, or either via email or via telephone number, just tell them that you heard this interview and that you were curious about what they're doing, so that way I know that people who are listening to this right now, which is tens of thousands of people every month, are at least responding to him. And, of course, we're going to have in our show notes his contact information, his direct email, and his direct phone number so he can get a hold of you. So, Mike, thank you so much for, one, doing this interview, and two, for participating with Vape Magazine in this, and three, for certainly inviting me to be part of what I consider to be something revolutionary, because as an educator and as someone who really believes in strategic partnerships, I mean, I think that you hit all the right chords. So kudos to you and your team over there, and I look forward to seeing you again in Park City, and thank you for joining us here on Vape Radio.
Well, it was my pleasure, Norm, and thank you. I really appreciate everything and all the help and the interview, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in Park City as well. We'll talk to you soon, and you guys have a great one.
Excellent. Don't go away, folks. We'll be back in just a moment.
I understand that what you just heard may not apply to all of you, but those that are serious vapreneurs and those that listen to the show, you're going to get the message. If you want information on Vape Shop events, contact Mike directly or get a hold of me here. This wraps up Vape Radio Show number 75, and thanks again for listening. Do you have a topic you'd like to hear, or do you have something to share? Someone you'd like us to speak with? Send me a note to norm@vapementors.com. But before we leave, I want to offer you all a great opportunity. Would you like to get your product, service, or message in front of our targeted vaping audience? Vape Radio is the #1 vape radio show in the world with more than 1.2 million downloads and over 120,000 unique views a month. We were one of the top 10 business podcasts of 2015 on Podbean and beat out more than 130,000 other shows. For just $750, you get your company integrated within 3 different vape radio shows, and we're looking for 2 more advertisers to fill our spots. How about you? Contact Norm at VapeMentors.com, and Thanks again. This is show number 75. So until next time, vape on.